Viewers, you need to pay close attention to me tonight, because I'm going to make a case which will prove a little controversial, which will arouse a bit of anger in the India bloc. But it is a case that is based on the hard facts, and I always bring you the hard facts, viewers, so that you get closer to the truth. Now, viewers, with elections looming on the horizon, political morality is being seemingly divorced from a universal code of ethics and aligned instead to the universal compulsions of vote bank politics. What am I saying here? Simply put, the India bloc is worried that if it supports Israel, if it condemns Palestinians supporting Hamas, it may end up alienating Muslims who are their principal supporters. So from Sharad Pawar's NCP to the Gandhi-led Congress, the Communists and Mufti's PDP, or even the Samajwadi Party's legislators are all now actively denouncing Israel, viewers. Some say that Israelis have no claim on Palestine land, that Israel is the real oppressor in Palestine, that Israeli aggression is the root cause of this problem. It's just like saying that India's aggression against Islamist terror is why we got attacked on 26/11. It's bizarre. And when not denouncing Israel, India bloc parties are busy warning the Modi-led NDA to not back Tel Aviv at the risk of upsetting equations with crucial allies in the Middle East. Still others from the India bloc want to hold vigils and protest marches against Israel as if it is the villain and not the Hamas that is sworn to the eradication of Israel. Viewers, it's confounding whataboutery. And I will prove to you how, why. Of course, viewers, let's go over some of what is being said. Sharad Pawar says Israel is encroaching on Palestinian land. You have A. Raja of the CPI. He says India has always backed Palestine over Israel, as if we don't even have any arrangements with Israel. Mehbooba Mufti says Israel is the real oppressor in Palestine. She, of course, represents the PDP that was once an ally of the BJP. M.A. Baby of the CPIM, he's a member of parliament, says Israeli aggression is the root cause of the crisis. Root cause. It will always be in M.A. Baby's mind's eye the villain, the oppressor. Rashid Alvi of the Congress says backing Israel will hurt Gulf ties. Now, it hasn't obviously taken very long, viewers, for the Bharatiya Janata Party to accuse the India bloc of rationalizing Hamas terror and drawing a wholly self-serving false equivalence between Israel and Islamist jihadists. Listen in to what some people have said. But before that, let me also quote to you what has been said by some top ministers of the NDA. Piyush Goyal says, Pawar taking a casual view of terror. In other words, he is trivializing Israel's greatest concerns. He goes on to say UPA shed tears on the Batla encounter, and therefore perhaps it is not surprising today that it is standing against Israel. UPA slept as terrorists attacked India. He's referring here to the 26/11 attacks. The rotten mindset has to stop, he says. Nitin Gadkari, viewers, on the other hand, is tweeted and says India against all forms of terror. Pawar must put nation above politics. He says unity against terror is essential. Giriraj Singh, another union minister, says Prime Minister has taken a stand against terror, but Prime Minister has not denounced Palestine either. In fact, viewers, the Prime Minister was very clear after the hospital bombing yesterday, saying he was shocked and outraged and he wanted justice to be done and those responsible to be brought to book as soon as possible. Prime Minister has not equivocated, viewers. And viewers, of course, the Prime Minister has also condemned Hamas terror. And you would expect him to. After all, India suffers from Islamist terror. We have been bled by a 1,000-cut policy that is enunciated very proudly by Pakistan. But listen in.
The Prime Minister of India, as an individual, takes a different road. And country's foreign ministry takes a different role. He supports Israel openly, and the foreign ministry of our country comes out in open, says that we are going to support Palestine. It never happened in the history of the world that the same government, two people taking two different roads.
फिलिस्तीनी को नरेंद्र मोदी भी समर्थन कर रहे हैं, लेकिन हमास जैसे आतंकवादी को हम नहीं समर्थन करते.
இஸ்ரேலை இந்தியா எப்போதும் ஆதரித்ததில்லை. பாலஸ்தீனம் ஆதரித்திருக்கோம். எந்த நாடு ஒடுக்கப்படுகிறதோ அந்த நாட்டை ஆதரிப்பதுதான் மேல்மட்ட வன்முறை.
It is very, sad and shocking that, and also shameful. 3 is sad, shocking and shameful that a person who has served as a minister doesn't know who is a friend and who is a foe. It is really, I am really astonished the way Mr. Raja has said. Because Israel has been our friend for almost more than, 73 years now.
Let's put some of the India bloc's claims to a real fact check, viewers, tonight. Let's begin with Sharad Pawar, who says that Israel is an outsider and the land is originally of Palestine. In other words, Israel is an occupier that has no right to exist on that real estate. What has Pawar said? We want peace in the world. Nothing objectionable about that, viewers. He goes on to say, now there is a war going on between Israel and Palestine. The entire land is of Palestine and Israel encroached on their land. Israel is an outsider and the land is originally of Palestine. But if Pawar had cared to read, he would have possibly realized that India normalized ties with Israel in January 1992 during the Narasimha Rao regime. That was a Congress government. The diplomatic recognition legitimized Israel's millennia-old stake in Palestine. It's curious that Pawar forgets this, especially as he was the country's defense minister at the time. He served in Narasimha Rao's cabinet. Moreover, Pawar must know these following facts. And let me take you, viewers, through them. 165, these are hard facts tonight, viewers. 165 UN member states, and let's put them up on our screens. 165 UN member states refer to the region as Israel. The remaining 30 refer to it as Palestine. Yes, viewers, they refer to it as Palestine. For Jews, Jerusalem is where Abraham, the first patriarch of Judaism, nearly sacrificed his son to God. Jerusalem was the capital of King David's Israel in the Hebrew Bible. Jerusalem is where David's son Solomon built his temple. In 9th century BCE, Israel term was first used to describe people that descended from the Semitic Canaanites. Archaeological research proves Israeli people occupying what is now northern Israel and southern Israel, which is also known as Judea. So viewers, Israel has a historical claim upon Palestine. Israelis have an historical claim over Palestine. Jews have a historical claim over Palestine. So Sharad Pawar is murdering history. Now let's go the assertions made by some other leaders as they go about indicting Israel. A. Raja says, as I told you, India always backed Palestine over Israel. Here is a hard fact check, viewers. India long dehyphenated ties with Israel and Palestine since 1992. It's been almost 30 years. Modi visited both Israel and Palestine separately. India recognizes the right of Israel and Palestine to coexist. We're in favor of a two-state solution. So viewers, let me tell you, it's not that India has only and exclusively backed Palestine. India has ties to only Fatah-ruled zones of Palestine. Remember that. There is another big claim, and this is being made by Mehbooba Mufti of the PDP. Israel is the real oppressor, she says, in Palestine. As if, viewers, any attack on it will from now on be justified because obviously it is the oppressor. But here are the hard fact check, viewers. Hamas has not held polls in Gaza since 2006. We're talking about who's the real oppressor in Palestine. Hamas has eliminated other Palestinian rivals in Gaza. PLA views Hamas as, quote, part of the problem, not solution, unquote. 50% Palestinians in Gaza reject the Hamas's policy on Israel. And what does Hamas have to say about Israel? That Israel doesn't exist, it shouldn't exist. And there is no point having even a dialogue or talks with Israel. For the Hamas, there is nothing called a two-state solution. Amnesty in 2014 has accused Hamas of abducting, killing, torturing Palestinians. Human Rights Watch in 2022, viewers, has said Hamas and Palestinian Authority abuses Palestinians, critics, and these abuses are systemic. So viewers, just who is the real oppressor here? Then there is a claim being made by M.A. Baby, who's of the CPIM. What does he say? Israeli aggression is the root cause of the crisis. What does the hard fact check reveal? Israel vacated Gaza, but terror against Israel continued. Why would it continue, viewers? It pulled completely out of Gaza. The root cause is Hamas that rejects the two-state solution. Hamas doesn't recognize Israel and seeks its destruction. That is the root cause, viewers. You cannot negotiate with anyone who doesn't recognize you. The root cause is Hamas's obduracy, its stubbornness, its machination against Israel. The other claim being made by the Congress is Rashid Alvi. Backing Israel will hurt Gulf ties. Well, let's have a quick hard fact check of this assertion. India gave, remember viewers, full diplomatic recognition, normalized ties to Israel in January 1992. Since then, several Gulf states post-1993 Oslo Accords have warmed up to Israel. So much so that Saudi Arabia was about to sign an agreement with Israel recognizing its right to exist. India's ties with Gulf nations have deepened over 3 decades. PM's growing outreach to Arab nations is a main pillar of his foreign policy, and it is well recognized. We've even tied up, viewers, with the Middle East to expand a corridor all the way into Europe. And this happened in the sidelines of the G20. The facts are speaking for themselves. They expose the opposition bloc's claims as lacking substance. They possibly establish that worst, a deep-seated Israelophobia, or at best, a deep disregard for the politically inconvenient truth. Now let's get to the big debate. As the India alliance trash talks Israel, is the opposition bloc guilty of Israelophobia? Fundamental question tonight. And that question, viewers, we are going to debate on the hard facts with a number of guests and viewers, of course. It has been brought to us by Motorola. That big question that we are throwing up for debate.
Hello, Moto.
That's the big debate topic tonight, viewers. Let's open this up. I want to begin my first question tonight with the NCP's Faizan Mirza. Sir, you belong to the Sharad Pawar faction. Thank you for being on this show. And I want to ask you, when the facts prove beyond doubt that the Jews or Israelis have a historical claim to Palestine, why is Sharad Pawar's NCP painting Israel as an occupying power with no legitimate locus standi in this area?
First of all, any of us don't have any locus standi to discuss in this topic. So let's not discuss about locus standi right now. The thing is, the Chief Minister of Assam Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma, today he gave statement that Pawar Saab should send Supriya Tai there, and he did this type of wrong and very bad statement about women and hurted the whole women of country. इन लोगों ने औरतों को हथियार बनाकर औरतों के ऊपर इस तरह के टारगेट कर पूरे देश की महिमा को लज्जित करने का काम किया है। और हम लोग जो डिबेट यहाँ पर लेके बैठे हैं, हम लोगों को कोई नैतिक अधिकार नहीं है डिबेट करने का। मणिपुर के विषय पर हम लोग क्यों चुप थे? मणिपुर में हमारे देश की उन बेटियों को नग्नावस्था में घुमाकर किस तरह से देश की महिमा को लज्जित करने का काम पार्टी बर्दाश्त कर रही थी, रूलिंग पार्टी किस तरह से बर्दाश्त कर रही थी, ये आप देखते हैं।
Can I ask you a counter question, Mirza साहब?
Wait a minute, let me complete first. मैं बीजेपी के बारे में बोलता हूं तो आपको क्यों बुरा लग रहा है क्या पता, लेकिन पहले मुझे बोलने तो दीजिए, खत्म तो कर दीजिए साहब। आपने लोकस स्टैंडाई की बात की है यहाँ पर, किसी को हमको इसमें बोलने का कोई लोकस स्टैंडाई नहीं है।
राइट।
हमको मणिपुर में बोलने का लोकस स्टैंडाई था।
ओके।
क्यों चुप किया देश को, क्यों जवाब नहीं दिया गया देश को? और रहा सवाल ये कि इजराइल गलत है या गाजा गलत है, तो भारत के पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री, भारतीय जनता पार्टी, ओरिजिनल भारतीय जनता पार्टी के नेता और भारत के पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी साहब का ही कहना था कि इजराइल ने फलस्तीन की जगह पर कब्जा किया है, वो उसको खाली करना पड़ेगा। तो हिमंता बिस्वा शर्मा जी अपने नेता को ही और बीजेपी अपने नेता को, देश के पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री को गलत बताना चाहती है।
ओके, वन स्मॉल रिक्वेस्ट।
दूसरी बात,
मिर्जा साहब, प्लीज स्पीक इन इंग्लिश बिकॉज वी हैव गेस्ट्स फ्रॉम other parts of the world who may not be able to follow what you're saying. And since you're a good speaker of the language, I would request you, sir, to put your points forward in the spirit of inclusivity.
First of all, if the Chief Minister of Assam had made a statement in this manner,
okay,
condemning the statement of the incident of Manipur, then he would have the moral right to speak on this matter. He is not having any moral right to speak on this matter.
Right.
And the second thing is that the original BJP leader and former Prime Minister of the country, Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, had clearly said in the past that it is wrong for Israel to occupy the land of Hamas, and Israel will have to vacate that land in future. This was the statement of late Atal Bihari Vajpayee.
So you have no locus standi, you're saying?
Third thing, third thing, it has been the policy of BJP to insult women in every aspect.
Okay.
Women were insulted in Manipur too, due to which our country was left in shame all over the world.
Okay.
Where was the morality of Modi ji and BJP at that time?
Okay. So, Mr. Mirza,
this is my question.
You have brought in three things which are completely unrelated to this entire debate. But fair enough.
It is related.
One second.
Because you told
why are you talking over me?
You told about locus standi.
Because your leader, sir.
You told that my leader is not having any locus standi. Okay, we are not having. Anyone of this country does not have locus standi to speak on that.
First of all, Mr. Mirza, please correct yourself. I never asked. Excuse me, let me just finish. I never said that your leader doesn't have locus standi. I asked you to explain why you think Israel did not have a locus standi. I think you confuse the issue conveniently to suit where you want to take this debate. Now, viewers, you have just heard Mr. Faizan. He invoked Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Remember, let me tell you that the first Israeli Prime Minister to visit India visited India in 2003, viewers. So, even though Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, just like Mr. Modi has done, has expressed his solidarity with the larger Palestinian cause, he also made sure that he would bring into play our ties with Israel and begin to engage Israel. All of this, of course, Mr. Mirza will not respond to. Neither will he respond to the fact check that I made on Mr. Sharad Pawar's statement. Sharad Pawar has said, Israel encroached on Palestinian land. suggesting that Israel had no locus standi on this particular piece of real estate, contentious as it is. I brought out certain facts, but I want to tonight not hog this debate. I want to go across to policy expert from Israel, Emmanuel Navon. Mr. Navon, many people in this country, in the opposition especially, believe that Israel has only an outsider status in Palestine. It has no historic or spiritual roots in this part of the world. How would you respond to that statement that you're an occupational force?
Well, these people should learn history. They're simply ignorant. The Jewish people is 3,000 years old, and it had a kingdom for about 1,000 years until it was destroyed by the Roman armies in the first century of the Common Era. The Jews have had a documented history in this land, except that unlike other people in antiquity, when they were defeated by the Roman armies, by the way, at the time, some of them already back then, 2,000 years ago, were refugees in India. That's why you have a long history of Jews in India, because they were refugees from the wars against the Roman Empire. But the Jews had a kingdom for over 1,000 years before the Roman armies defeated us. But unlike other nations that were defeated by the Romans, we survived exile. We're the only people in history who've survived exile for nearly 2,000 years, because we never lost hope in returning to our land. And in the meantime, the Jews' contribution to human history is unprecedented. And our land, when we were in exile, were destroyed by different empires. It was conquered and colonized by the Arabs, who came from Arabia, conquered our land, including later on the Ottoman Empire. And when we finally rebuilt our sovereignty, started to immigrate at the end of the 19th century, we basically rebuilt our nation from the Arab colonizers. And in spite of that, we agreed to many compromises on sharing the land, which were all rejected by the Arabs, starting from the first proposal in 1937 from the Peel Commission, then the UN partition plan in 1947. By the way, as you know, your own country was also partitioned the same year, between India and Pakistan in 1947. But the Arabs have rejected all compromise. So even though the Jews are actually the ones whose, Judea comes from the word Jew, right? And this land has been Jewish for 3,000 years. In spite of that, we're always ready for peace and for a compromise. But this is impossible with Hamas, which is a Nazi type of organization.
So you made a very strong case for why Israel must claim this particular piece of real estate, contested as it is, for itself. Okay, let me once again go back to Mr. Sharad Faction's representative, Mr. Faizan Mirza, and also Waris Pathan. I want to bring him in. I'll give you one more chance, sir. You are from the NCP. Let me ask you one more chance to address this question head on. You say, and your leader says, Israel encroached on Palestinian land, and we have always maintained this stand. Then can I ask you, sir, why did he as defense minister rubber stamp a decision of the Narasimha Rao government in 1992, sir, to recognize and normalize full bilateral ties with Israel, in a sense cementing Israel's position as a stakeholder in this particular area? Can you answer this question, sir?
I don't have any information regarding this matter.
Okay,
and
then we leave it at that.
No, this is a misleading fact.
Then we leave it at that. It's not a misleading fact. He was defense minister
Yes,
in
it is a misleading
1992.
fact.
Was he not a
it is
defense
a
minister in
misleading fact.
1992?
Yes, he was. He was the
If he was the defense
but
minister in
it is a misleading
1992,
fact.
then how is it a misleading fact when his government, a government that he was part of, recognized and gave full rights to Israel? Viewers, you can't have it both ways. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Wait. I'm making my stand clear here. I'm making my stand clear here. Can I say?
Yeah, of course. I'm listening to you, sir.
Yes. First of all, right now, Mr. Jitendra Awad spoke to your channel and he gave the statement that the Foreign Affairs Minister of country and Foreign Affairs Ministry of country is condemning Israel. And Prime Minister is, and the BJP is condemning Gaza. First of all, I want to clear this fact. If the Prime Minister supports Israel and defense, and the External Affairs Minister is supporting Gaza.
Okay. So let me update you. The Prime Minister has tweeted about half an hour back. Please check his tweet. He is at length.
Yes.
He has at length stood in support of the Palestinian cause. Please check the tweet. You are coming with all sorts of information. There it is. He spoke to the
BJP
Palestinian.
Is supporting.
Allow me, sir.
BJP
Please.
is
I beg you,
supporting
sir.
Israel.
Please
BJP
listen to the facts, please. I don't come here uninformed.
BJP is
I don't
supporting
come
Israel.
here unprepared. I'm giving you the facts. Maybe you haven't seen it. Maybe you were getting ready for my show. Maybe you had no time to look. But the Prime Minister just called the Palestine Authority president. He spoke to him and he condoled with him. And he also said that India continues to stand with Palestine in its hour of grief, that India will send humanitarian aid. You will only send humanitarian aid to a government you recognize, Mr. Faizan. And he also shared his concerns over terror in the region, which cuts both ways, according to him. So he's done it all. And he also reiterated his stand, India's stand on Israel and Palestine. I hope you make yourself acquainted with this updated information. Once you do, you will realize that Sharad Pawar was playing crude politics by making the statement that he did. Anyhow, I don't want to waste my time. You're clearly not prepared. Let me open this up. Let me bring in Mr. Pathan also. Mr. Waris Pathan, I want to ask you, your leader wants to declare a day of mourning and lead a vigil in solidarity with Gazans. In the next few days, he's going to hit the streets. A day of mourning. But, firstly, the proof suggests that Hamas rockets hit the hospital. Number one. Second, why didn't you take out a similar peace march to mourn the death of innocent Israelis on October 7th, sir? Can you explain, are Israeli lives, do they not matter?
Well, Rahul, our position since the beginning has been very clear. We say Israel is the oppressor and Palestinians are the oppressed, and humanity demands that we must always stand with the oppressed people, and that is the Palestinians who are being killed mercilessly, massacred every day by the Israeli authorities. It's not just in 7, it's in the 70 years last we have been seeing that every day. Now in the year 1977, Rahul, let me remind you, when our late Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the External Affairs Minister at that time, he clearly said that Israelis have illegally occupied the Palestinian land and Israel must vacate that land. He was the founder member of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and I quote him. Again, then Nelson Mandela also supported the Palestinian cause. Then Barack Obama, the ex-president of United States, also supported the Palestinian cause. Our own country's external ministry, when he held the press conference just few days back, clearly stated that India stands with the independence of Palestine. And our Prime Minister Narendra Modi just now, as just an hour back, he spoke to the Palestinian Authority, and he said that India stands, and he also showed his sympathy with the Al-Ahli hospital which was bombed. And Israel lied that time also. Israel is an habitual liar, Rahul. Let me tell you, Israel had bombed this Al-Ahli hospital. Israel is a war criminal. Netanyahu is a war criminal. Israel is a terrorist. They have bombed, killed, massacred doctors, patients and children who were taking refuge there, who were admitted in the hospital. Israel had given them 2 days prior notice. The Gaza hospital, the authorities, the management is clearly given a press statement, and we can see what has happened there. Israel Israeli's main digital spokesperson, he tweeted, who is the main right-hand man of Netanyahu, he said that Israel has bombed the hospital. Subsequently, after a few minutes, he deleted the tweet. Then Israel showed a video saying that this was done by the Palestinian, the Hamas. Then they deleted that video. And Israel, I said, why do I call them habitual offender, Rahul? Because you and me, everybody knows, a few years back, Al Jazeera reporter Shireen Abu Akleh, she was reporting from the West Bank and she was killed. She was shot dead. And Israel came forward before the world and said, no, Palestinians killed her. Subsequently, after a few months of investigation, it was revealed and Israel said that yes, she was shot dead by the Israeli police force. Why do you forget Kana massacre in 1996 which happened? Kana massacre that time also in South Lebanon, Israel said everybody just get together there. It was a United Nations compound. All the civilians, they gathered there, mostly the women and children, and Israeli bombed that place and hundreds of the people, civilians were killed, and amongst them were women and children. So Israel is bombing the women and children in this war round.
So basically, because in your words, Israel is the oppressor, it deserves to be attacked and its citizens deserve to be killed. Okay, that's a very strange logic. Now let me tell you, viewers, if you go by this logic, now let me extrapolate on this. Pakistan says India is the oppressor in Kashmir. By that logic, if the 26/11 attacks happened in the state of Maharashtra, where the AIMIM leader lives in Mumbai, as it did, viewers, we should not be complaining because we deserved it, you see. Since Pakistan calls us the oppressor in Kashmir, we deserve to be attacked. We should be bombed. All Hindus should be killed.
Allow me.
All Indians should be killed.
Allow me.
All Muslims should be killed who vote for the BJP. This is the logic, viewers, number one. Number two, I only asked a simple question. One second, sir. One second. Let me just finish. One second. I am going to make another point, viewers, to you. Because it is very, very difficult to try and suggest that some lives matter more than others. This is what the AIMM leader is suggesting. He might be right about what he has said about Israel. I am not here to hold a brief for Israel. But has he forgotten? And he does believe the BBC. He was here some time back defending the BBC. The BBC has verified the footage that was released by the Israeli government to show that it was a Hamas rocket that demolished the hospital in Gaza. And the BBC, no less, has said that is true. It was a Hamas rocket that fell on this hospital in Gaza. And viewers, it's not just the BBC, it's also CNN, and it is a huge raft of international media organizations that Waris Pathan reads very closely because he believes in them. Also, an Al Jazeera reporter, viewers, has come out and said exactly this. Al Jazeera is no friend of Israel, viewers. But Al Jazeera is watched by Waris Pathan. All of these are facts. Please check. Go to the BBC website and check for yourselves, viewers. I'm not lying. I never do. My show is called The Hard Facts. I speak the hard facts. Now, there is a third point, viewers, which is very, very, very worrying. And what no one talks about. The Indian Express sent a reporter who is still in Israel, Shubhajit. He went to a hospital, viewers, that was attacked in Ashkelon, in Israel. By whom? The Hamas. It was bombed, viewers. The pediatric ward of that hospital has a huge, massive crater in one of its walls. It can't be used. The entire hospital has had to move 2 floors down into an underground bunker. I didn't hear the NCP or the AIMIM leaders come out and say that was an act of wanton violence. No, they didn't, viewers. Never heard them.
I would allow me 10-second rebuttal, Rahul.
Yeah, please, of course, sir.
Allow me 10-second rebuttal.
I then want to bring in Max Abrahams and Ajay Alok.
Rahul, what is terrorism? Rahul, I'll explain to you who's a terrorist, what are acts of terrorism, and who's committing these acts of terrorism. Rahul, well, there's a Geneva Convention is also there. There are certain rules for wars. You have to follow that. You cannot disconnect the electricity. You cannot disconnect the water supply. You cannot disconnect the
Don't change the
medicines or the fuels
goalpost.
which are being
I
given
was
to
talking
the
about
Gaza
an
people.
attack.
The
Your leader
Israelis
wants to take out a
now
march.
I've heard you hard facts. You will not hard facts. You don't want to grasp, Rahul. That is the difficulty. Allow me to make my point.
Make
I
3
am
points.
stating the facts, the
Yes,
truth before
he's
the
not
entire
true.
nation, which your TV is being watched by everybody. Let me tell you, Rahul. Cutting those things, they are act of terrorism. And during the Russian and Ukrainian time, East European countries president who just visited Israel, that lady, she stood up that time and she said, you cannot cut water, electricity, fuel, gas supply for the civilians because it comes under act of terrorism. And whosoever violates that, it will be charged and prosecuted for the international war crimes. And so now I say Netanyahu is a war criminal and he should be tried for the international war crimes which he is committing on the civilians which are living in Gaza. How Syria? Why is he bombing Syria? Hamas is not there in Syria. Hamas did not provoke. Syria did not provoke.
Sir,
Syria did not provoke Israel.
Hamas
Why Israel is bombing
Excuse me,
Syria?
Hamas is there very much in Damascus. Hamas's top leadership lives in
Syria,
Damascus.
No. West Bank, Syria, presence of Hamas.
Where are
is
these
not
facts
there in
coming
Syria.
from?
Syria never provoked
What is
and
your
they are
source?
bombing there. And
Sir,
I'll tell
please,
you the
you're
missile
tying
defense
yourself up
fight,
in knots.
The PIG rockets
Wait.
which are being fired
Max
by
Abrahams
Hamas
and Ajay Alok.
cannot cause that much casualty.
Okay, fair enough.
Which the US made PDAM
Fair enough, sir.
bombs are
You
causing.
can choose
And
to
on the
disregard-
Al-Ali hospital,
Okay.
the PDAM bomb was used by the Israeli agencies.
Okay. You
and the
can
Israeli
choose
Air
to
Force.
disregard the CNN reportage. You can choose to disregard the BBC reportage. You can pick and choose when you
I am
want to
reporting
believe them and
Reuters,
when you want to
CNN,
reject
BBC,
them.
everybody.
Okay, one second. Sir, please let me finish. I never spoke over you. I just want to say, viewers, one thing. Have any of these two individuals condemned the Hamas? I didn't hear it. Have any
Prime
of them
Minister
condemned the
taken name of
Hamas?
Has the external minister taken the name of Hamas?
There you go,
Has
viewers.
the Prime Minister taken name
There
of
you
Hamas?
go, viewers.
Has
No
India declared-
condemnation
has India
of a
declared Hamas
terror
as the
organization,
terrorist
and I have
organization?
shown you
No.
for days altogether the charter of Hamas. Ajay Alok, the charge is once again at your door. You're supporting the wrong side. You're supporting war criminals. Max Abraham will come up on that also in just a few seconds. But first to you, Ajay Alok.
Well, Rahul, I literally don't care that who's blaming whom. And especially from a party like AIMIM, whose leader openly gives legal aid and support to the 5 terror accused and who has been constantly patting the terrorism. They have never said utter a word against Kashmir terrorists, saying that they are the brothers. They have never uttered a word against the Hindus' exodus from Kashmir. They are talking about oppressor and oppressor. The POK belongs to us. Have you ever heard a word from them about POK? No. The Aksai Chin belongs to us. Have you ever have you heard a word from them? No. Have you heard a word from them about Uyghur Muslims in China? That how they are being treated? They will not speak. What they will speak is the vote that's landing in India. Regarding Mr. Sharad Pawar, I will just like to remind your viewers that if you remember, go back in 1992 when Mumbai bomb blast took place, when everything was in shatters, Mr. Sharad Pawar was playing appeasement politics when he deliberately lied that there were 12 blasts instead of 11, and the last blast was in Bandar Masjid area, which is a minority dominated area. At that point of time, he was also doing appeasement politics. So I am not surprised that today when he says that Israel is an oppressor and that the whole land belongs to Palestine. First other thing, again I'll come to AIMM. When they say oppressor, the Gaza Strip was handed over to Fatah and PA in 2005 September. The disengagement from Israel took place there. Then what happened? How many Palestinians were killed by the Hamas? More than 2 lakhs in this Gaza Strip only. They were shut then. They didn't spoke. They didn't utter a word then. And then came Hamas power. And today they are in the name of Palestinian youth and in the name of Palestinian, they are supporting and directly supporting Hamas. This is the cause, because what they are targeting here, both the parties, they are targeting the Muslim votes. They think that by supporting Hamas, the Muslims in India will get very pleased and will get the votes of theirs.
They won't.
So it's a fight between both these
Indian
two.
Muslims don't support terror. Indian Muslims will never support terror, viewers. They will never support terror. And that's a fact. And I want to bring
They are painting the entire Indian Muslims in a wrong picture.
In a wrong picture. It's shocking if that is true. It's shocking, sir, if that is true. But since it's a rhetorical statement, I can't endorse it, viewers. All I can say is that Indian Muslims don't support terror. I want to bring in Max Abrahams.
Even we don't support terror, we don't support terrorist activities.
Well, sir, condemn Hamas.
And we are proud Indian
Put
Muslims.
your hand on your heart and say
And
that
we are-
Hamas is a
and
terror
the Prime
organization.
Minister
I will
taken
believe
the name
you.
of Hamas.
I will believe you. The MIM
Rahul,
has
direct
played
question to
politics
you.
on this. 1 minute.
Okay,
Max
Rahul,
Abraham.
direct question to
Please. Max Abraham coming in. Show some civility, sir. Let the others also finish and speak, please. Max Abraham, terribly sorry to have kept you waiting this long. As you know, in India, politics, the way it plays out, requires very careful scrutiny. Otherwise, any statement that is made can obviously mislead hundreds and thousands of people. So I want to ask you, sir, Mr. Abrahams, why do you think today Mr. Modi is being boxed in his own country for speaking out against terror? What do you think is the issue here?
Well, I think that Modi has really brought India to the next level when it comes to India's position on the international stage. If you look at his popularity around the world, it's the highest, it's in the 70s. And one of the reasons why Modi has achieved that is because he's not 100% beholden to ways of the past. Now, it's true that India relations have improved with Israel in recent times. India's relations with the United States have also improved in recent times. When countries want to progress, they don't always look backward, they look forward. One of the reasons why Modi is popular around the world is because he's a reliable counter-terrorist. He takes counterterrorism seriously within India, and he takes it seriously around the world. Now, you're right, there are other international actors which have aligned themselves with Hamas. But let me point out a few more. Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda is now openly aligning itself with Hamas. Hezbollah openly aligns itself with Hamas. Since October 7th, one of the worst terrorist massacres in modern history, Hamas has been elevated as perhaps the leading group in the global jihad movement.
Right.
So I would like the political parties in India to ask themselves, do they want to side with the leader of the global jihad movement, or are they in favor of counterterrorism? There is no contradiction between opposing Hamas terrorists and supporting the Palestinian cause. I too support the Palestinian cause. I don't wish ill on any Palestinian civilian, and I'm not opposed to a two-state solution. You know who is opposed to a two-state solution? Hamas. Hamas, if you look at its charter, is avowedly opposed to any compromise with Israel. And
Right.
during the Oslo peace process,
Yes.
when the majority of Israelis were in favor of making major territorial concessions to the Palestinians in exchange for a viable, contiguous Palestinian state, Hamas objected. Hamas systematically objects to any compromise with Israel, and the consequence has been devastating, not just to Israelis, but Palestinians as well. I don't tell Indians to oppose Palestinians. I don't tell Indians to oppose a two-state solution. But I do urge Indians to be consistent in their approach to counterterrorism and renouncing groups
Consistent.
which are close allies with Al-Qaeda.
Consistent is the term. And let me tell you, viewers, we are part of a very important grouping called I2U2. Israel, India, UAE, and USA. Would the UAE be aligning with us, with this government, if it had given up on Palestine? No, viewers, it would never have. gone along with that kind of stratagem. So these individuals that you've just heard and the other politicians that I've quoted are absolutely on the wrong side of the fact cheat sheet, viewers. And they're doing it for a reason. I can't proffer that reason. You guess it.